I was born and raised in Kathmandu. So when I left my hometown for my undergrad, it felt like I was leaving my entire life behind. My friends, my family, the places I grew up with. So I thought it'd be nice to give out parting gifts to my friends before I left. And now in hindsight, it may sound all wacky, corny, bluster, boring. But since I was 19 when I left, I wanted to give out 19 gifts. A, I know that's a lot of gifts. B, I know that's a lot of people. And I even had to reach out to some of my old-timey friends to hit that number. But I thought it was poetic and I was really passionate about it and I wanted to do it. And each gift was like meticulously carved for that specific person. At a glance, they may seem like weird gifts, but given the right context, I think they make a lot of sense. It was a bit hectic, but I was having so much fun with it. If you have a gay friend, crochet them a gay tote bag. If you have a friend who likes flowers, give them flowers. I actually ended up making a flower top. I don't know why I just said flowers. It was based on this image I found on Instagram. I luckily also happen to have a video of this, so thank you, Luzo, for taking this video. If you have a friend who likes Charlie XCX, which is the same thing as number one, you can give them a Charlie XCX t-shirt. If you and your friend both like a movie, give them something about the movie, because I had a friend who's really into everything everywhere all at once, and I was also into that. So what I did was crocheted him a bucket hat, which was black on the brim and white on top. So if you looked at it like that, it looked like a bagel. But if you like simply wore it, it had the googly eyes in it. I don't want to say it was a stroke of genius on my side, but that is exactly what it was. The most fun gifts were the ones that were the least useful. I had a friend who would always like joke about wanting to experiment with Coca-Cola and such things, if you know what I mean. So I just knew it at that instant that my gift had to be regarding something like that. So I went to my bank and I asked them if they could block my debit card, but they said they don't unless I lost it. So I said I lost it. What are they going to do? Ask for my lost debit card? So they blocked it anyways. I gave him my blocked empty debit card in case he ever needed to, you know, sort the said substances, which is a complete joke. I don't know if he ever actually did it. I hope not. This was perhaps the wildest among all of the gifts, and if we were to meet after a few years, we would have a good laugh about it, so it's a good gift regardless. Another one of my friends had a sense of humor. His name was Bipan. It was spelled like that. So whatever gift I was to give him, it was supposed to be funny, so I just gave him a picture of a bisexual person and a pansexual person in an Eiffel Tower frame. And that frame was the only prize that I'd ever won in my entire school life. If you know the Eiffel Tower threesome joke, you know, you get it. I pulled it out, the gift, and I gave it to him and he laughed. So, you know, one of the easiest gifts to give is if one of your friends is a brand stan. If your friend is specifically obsessed about a particular brand, just give them a whole bunch of that brand. It's a grand gesture, it makes sense. It doesn't work if your friend is like I just seen, right? So I had a friend who was obsessed with Chupa Chups and I bought her a whole bunch of Chupa Chups. She found it funny. It was a good gift. I have a friend with whom I was on the same school bus, and right before my stop was a clock store, and we would always look at that store and be like, ew, ugly watches, who would ever buy that? I bet that store is going to go bankrupt because no one buys those ugly watches. Guess who bought those ugly watches? It was a table clock, to be precise. And it was such a utilitarian gift. She went off to college. She wanted a bedside clock anyways, right? And so now every day she wakes up to my clock. I'm there with her when she wakes up every morning. You could say we're married. Hands down, my favorite gift among all of them was a 10 rupee note. And mind you, 10 Nepalese rupee is barely even like 10 American cents. But it was signed by me, so you know its value went up. And it was laminated and framed in this hand-carved wooden frame. Dear God, the lengths I went to get that frame. I went to the local furniture stores and I asked them if they could make me the frame. They said they only made it in the outskirts of Kathmandu Valley. I was there in the outskirts of Kathmandu just walking around asking people where they carved these frames. I walked for a few good hours and then I finally found one and I bought it. And that was such a good gift because my mom and I were in the meeting with the school principal that I was about to get admitted to. And then Subani, who's the friend, called me and asked me to bring her 10 rupees so she could get home. Because that was the price you had to pay the local buses if you had a student ID card. I left the meeting, I went all the way to her, mind you, in a different city. And that's how she got home that day. Another one of my favorite gifts was to my friend named Sadiksha. In grade 10, I graduated top of my class in the national boards, which was so unfair because I thought my friend deserved it more than me because she was the reason I was good at my studies. Like, my academics were not good until she helped me. So I thought she deserved my gold medal. So what did I do? I had a gold medal made for her. It was not out of gold, but you know, it was a gold medal. And she was truly a 10 out of 10 student. And I also had a blue scarf made for her because that was the color of her house. Talking about schoolhouses, I was the red house, so I have the red ring. And I have a friend named Luza, and he was in the greenhouse, so he has the green ring. Some of the other gifts were just spontaneous. Like, one of my friends was getting his ears pierced, so I just gave him a pair of earrings. So smart. And it was about going with the flow and paying attention to detail. And I really got to show how much I cared about these people through these gifts, and I felt really grateful to have them in my life. Gifts are a remarkable way of symbolizing relationships. With a gift, you can choose to immortalize an experience that you shared. You can reference a niche joke. It could be a favorite TV show. It could be a poem, a song. It can truly be anything. Sure, you can buy them a gift card and give them money, and receiving money is genuinely one of the best things that can happen to you. And not every gift has to be a grand gesture, but for those who love the process of like digging for something in specific to, you know, later giggle or smile about, like, gifting is an art. And it is about rewinding the tape and finding the perfect frame to serve as a thumbnail. You can demonstrate how much you pay attention to them. You can portray that you notice the little things, like, oh, you're always walking around with low battery on your phone. Here's a power bank. I'm always walking around with low battery on my phone. So my friends, if you're watching this, and I don't say this because I'm like the best gift giver, gifter or whatever, but it's enjoyable, the process of like putting an abundance of time for a silly little joke. It's fun and it's funny. The first time I noticed that good gifts have an impact on someone, I was like maybe 9, I want to say, and I made my father a Father's Day card. My family was going through some serious financial hardship, and in the poem, in the card, it said something like, I'm going to grow up to be a successful person, and I'm going to make you a proud father. And I look up, and he's tearing up, and I'm like, this is so awkward. How do I console a crying father? That was when I realized that I cannot confront people's emotions. But that was also when I realized the intention that a gift can demonstrate. With that gift, I genuinely told him that I see you struggling and I want to make it better. 10 years from then, I'm nowhere financially successful and I don't still know how to confront people's emotions. But it meant a lot to him that I said that. So if you have trouble confronting people's emotions, just buy good gifts. And you can also tell so much about a person by the gifts they give. I would say there are like 3 types of people when it comes to like celebrating these occasions. The first one's just forget the entire thing until like the actual event happened. The second one's just spontaneously remember it as it's like, you know, nearing up, and so they just grab whatever they can. Third ones are the real winners here because they will plan months in advance. Like, it's their life mission to give this good gift. But I would say it's better to fall somewhere between the second and the third category. And I read this short poem about gifts. It is not a happy sight to see you, but in a picture frame locked in an old briefcase, I am happy to see you as you are to see me. I was friends with your cousins. I knew how often you shocked your elbow and your crushes were my in-laws. Now you're a groom at a marriage I'm not invited to. What was may never remain, but in that picture, we were happy to just have each other. Oh, that is such a sweet poem. I wonder who wrote it. Mind you, this is not like a complete guide to gift giving. By the end of this video, you may not exactly know what to give your spouse for your 1-year anniversary, but maybe you will perceive gift giving in a whole different context from now on. Maybe even as a form of art or a hobby. The first dispute I have with gifts is its definition, like that it's selfless. It is defined as something that is voluntarily transferred from one person to another without compensation. I think that's just very fragile. Because yes, you choose to give another person something, but you expect nothing in return. Like, if someone shows up at your door, you give them with hospitality. You expect nothing in return. I mean, like, sure, you expect them not to rob you or kill you, but you expect no monetary, you know, compensation. I don't think that's ever the case. Everyone always expects something. Of course, if I buy you a birthday present and if you don't buy me a birthday present, I'm not going to buy you one next year. Like, let me divide gifts in categories. First one is that it's bartering. My 6th grade desk partner, he was new to school and it was his birthday the next day. And he asked me if I could buy him a pencil bag for his birthday so he could buy me a pencil bag for my birthday. It's basically, we're just exchanging it. We could just buy it for ourselves. But affection is better received through the hands of others. That is basically exchange of currencies, or it's a social obligation. It's socially expected that good mothers get a Mother's Day gift. You can choose not to gift her that, but you look like an asshole. There are consequences to not giving that gift. And by definition, if these socially obligated gifts are an obligation, then they're not gifts. But I do think they are gifts. You have to put yourself in the mind of someone else and be like, they might like this. That's gifty to me. I mean, there are other categories of gifts. Like, say you're walking down the street and you see a pair of earrings and it reminds you of your friend and you get them for them. You were not obligated to buy it, but you bought it for them because you're thankful for their friendship. But in a way, you're kind of giving them something in return for fulfilling your emotive need for companionship. Isn't that bartering? Then maybe I'm too deep into this. Maybe I'm overthinking this. And at what point does gifting become charity? I don't want to get too deep into this, but I think gifting becomes charity if there's a social class difference and anonymity between, like, you people. Coming back to the topic, I think rarely any gifts are, like, purely generous. Most people do expect things in return. And if I were to give advice on this, I would say don't expect things, but it's not wrong to expect things. Also, very occasionally appreciate things. This lady in this TED Talk divided gifting into 3 processes: thought, gift, and effect. So that is how I want to approach the concept of gift giving, where anything can be a gift, not everything is a good gift. Do you remember that episode of Modern Family where the kids walk in on their parents? It's season 2, episode 13. And at the very end of their episode, the kids give their parents a latch as a gift so that they can lock the door when they're doing the deed. Brilliant, that's a good gift. The first step of a good gift is a good thought. And as long as you have a good thought, even if things go a little bit south, you will be given an excuse. So how do you have a good thought? There are elements to gifts: price, size, durability, utility, but I think the most important one is context. As long as the gift makes sense to be given to that person by you in that scenario, the gift could deadass be a rock, but it could be a rock that, you know, you kicked when you were kids and now it's your favorite rock, like, you know, something like that. I don't know. If they like materialistic things, buy them materialistic things, buy them a gold watch. But if you're poor and they have a sense of humor about it, buy them a tacky little watch. I mean, they have a sense of humor, so they'll laugh about it, you know, they'll understand. Just look around, people are always saying what they need. It's always best to give something utilitarian, because whenever they do use it, they'll kind of think of you in a way. My friend's birthday is coming up. She doesn't know how to use chopsticks, but she wants to learn to use chopsticks. What are we giving her? Chopsticks. Am I scared I'm ruining the surprise by mentioning it in a video? No, she doesn't have the attention span enough to make it to this part of the video. That's what true friendship is. You understand each other. If you have like an artsy hobby, give them that. If you paint, if you like crochet, I crochet, and at this point the only thing I crochet for are gifts from my friends. And also, one of the best gifts I've ever received was a song from a friend when I was 16, and ever since then I record a song on her birthday and I send it to her. I missed out this year, but you know, you get the point. You can paint them a painting, you know, do whatever you can. Oh, also all the jewelries that I'm wearing in this video, like almost all of them, they were all gifts. So, you know, that made sense to wear. There are things you want to avoid upfront while gifting. Like, first, you want to make sure that it's an equal exchange of currencies. Know the depth or like the type of relationship beforehand and set a limit. And when I say limit, I don't just mean monetarily, but also the time and effort you spend. Always think about how much effort you can be seen putting towards this person. Also, don't give anything that they have to commit a lot for. Pets are off the chart. They'll kill them, or they will die themselves. Nothing that requires heavy care. Lastly, if you remember dates well, good for you. If you don't remember important dates well, just save it under their number and link it to like an online calendar so it sends you a notification. I use Google, and so like whenever I start talking to someone and eventually we reach a point where we're like mentioning birthdays, I quickly just go under their number and save it, and it links to my Google. It sends me a reminder at the start of the month. Just find a calendar that works for you where you can note down dates. And on that, best of luck giving gifts. Though the video is technically ended, I did mention that there were 19 gifts, but I only listed 12, so I do go on to talk about the 7 remaining gifts. And if you're wondering, I used the Notes app to keep track of all the gifts while I was giving it. I forgot to wear my earrings for the first half of the video, but I've already shot this portion like thrice, so I'm not going to do it again. My first memories with a friend was like us bonding over earrings, so I got her a pair of like really pretty earrings. By the time I was leaving, we were bawling our eyes out, but that's, another thing. I have a friend whose name is Srijan Pandey, which sounds like panda, so everyone calls him Panda, so I crocheted him a panda bucket hat. One of the other gifts was also a ring, because I overheard him singing the lines, "If I could give you the sun, I would give you the sun." So the ring had the word sun in the Newari language. And then I explained the meaning behind the ring to him when I was giving it, and he was like, "No, I never sang that." Well, whatever, he still has the ring. When I was crocheting my graduation cardigan, I had like a whole bunch of sunflowers, and one of my friends mistakenly took those sunflowers home. So I just asked her to bring it back, and on our last meet when she brought it back, I pulled out a bucket hat and I stitched the sunflower to her hat, and then I gave it back to her. She looked so pretty in it, like it was such a happy moment. One of my friends went to Minerva, and if you know Minerva, it takes you to like 6 different countries over the course of 4 years for your studies. And he wanted to like collect a lot of memories from each of those universities. So I was like, you know what? You should have a photo album. The final gift was a no-face amigurumi because he liked Spirited Away as well. And so did I. So it was like a keychain amigurumi. The final gift, which I was not able to complete on time, was a skeleton corset. We participated in this talent show together. We were both supposed to sing in like Phoebe Bridgers attire. We were wearing all dark, but we were supposed to have this crochet skeleton ribs, which I couldn't finish. So that was the one gift that I couldn't give. So I'll just put it separately. This is the angle at which Dan Howe used to shoot his videos. Hello, internet. I was born and raised in Kathmandu. Why did I say it? Like, it's the saddest thing ever. Like, it's so sad to have grown up in Kathmandu. My childhood was relatively happy.